And just like that, a best of 5 becomes a best of 3. Cloud9 knots this series up, bouncing back from a Game 1 loss to Evil Geniuses. And I'll tell you what, to the surprise of absolutely no one, IO banned down in the first ban phase by Evil Geniuses. Pi Lai Dai went berserk on that hero.
Yeah, he really did. Of course, it wasn't just him. It was the work of his teammates as well. Demon played spectacular with that unorthodox refresher coming out of him on this puck, which we've seen a few times coming out of Exist from MYM. So not the most unorthodox, but it's definitely a great pickup. But those relocates, just every time the lasso went off, just almost instantly, he would just relocate right on the same spot where he's standing. So he doesn't have to bring him back to base either, and just tether away and just save his teammate instantly right away. Just so well played. And the heals, of course, from Aoi with the mech, plus the tether, just really, really were the cherry on top. And now, of course, we're going to be seeing Cloud9 first picking their Miranda for Sing Sing again. And we see EG grabbing the Visage first pick.
Yeah, the Visage first pick, very solid to build around, and seeing the Ember Spirit once again banned by EG. Third time in a row, Cloud9 has picked up Miranda. You and I were actually chit-chatting just as we were getting ready to load into the game. It's like, IO ban? Yeah, definitely going to be an IO ban. And, you know, the reasoning I used is, you know what, you already beat Sing Sing's Miranda once. You know that's a known quantity. Yes, he's excellent on the hero, but you're going to end up letting something you don't want to let through go through because you only got 2 bans. And in this case, taking out the IO, I feel like a much better choice. We can see Cloud9 this time actually going to be taking out the Naga Siren, and I would imagine they're going to continue to do that over and over again, but also banning out the Nyx Assassin in the first 2 this time as well.
Yeah, and they decide, you know what, we're just going to grab this Bat Rider off your hands. We're not going to let you guys grab this again because this hero is very, very powerful. If he does get a lasso off and they bring that person back, they can pick someone up almost instantly, as we've seen multiple times in this tournament. That hero just really gaining more and more popularity as this patch progresses.
And yeah, I mean, we've seen Bat picked or banned. I don't know the exact stat, but I can tell you right now, we've seen Bat probably picked or banned 80 to 100%, like throughout this whole tournament. So definitely making a rise in popularity once again. And we've seen just how effective he can be. The fact that he can play catch-up so effectively, but on top of that, just what he brings to you at all stages of the game, just something you can't underestimate and very tough to draft into. EG taking their nice, sweet time, even burning through some bonus time early on here in the first couple. But yeah, I mean, it's more of the same, it looks like, from both sides, at least for the moment.
Yeah, and I wonder we'll see EG go back to something that they did in this first game, maybe something more unorthodox.
I'd like to see that.
And also, we were seeing Fear putting a little bit of ice on his wrist, so I wouldn't be too surprised if his arm was hurting him a bit. He has been playing. He has played already 4 games today, so it could be affecting his play a little bit. But that Lifestealer game, he just had a very, very hard time versus the heroes that C9 had, and he couldn't really get in to break this. He couldn't really get in, even though the lasso was going off and he was popping out with the Infest right away. The relocate would just bring the guy out of it, and then Fear would just already have used his rage, and then he couldn't go back into those fights, or he would just get hexed up and blown up very, very quickly.
Yep. And just as we wait on the ban phase to take shape here in the second ban phase, just to go back to what you had mentioned, and we were talking about it back here at the table in between games, is, Fear, during his interview with the first series of the day, this is his second series, and now we're moving into his 4th game total that he is playing today. And he flat out told Anna, it's like, yeah, it hurts. It doesn't hurt all the time. I don't think it's going to affect me in that series. But he said he only tends to play 3 to 4 games a day, and then that's the most he can do comfortably. We're now in game 4, and if you've been watching
game
on
5, actually.
Yeah, game 5. No, you're exactly game 5. We're going into game 5 with 4 games under his belt, and if you've been watching on camera, you've even been able to see it, getting ice on that forearm every chance. So that busted wing, it's hard to tell. You can't really just gauge. You can't eyeball like in a traditional sport when someone hurts how much it's affecting them. But it is a factor, and it is going to be, I think, no doubt, an influence on things moving forward.
For sure. And we do see Cloud9 just deciding, no, we still don't want to play versus Shadow Fiend, even if it's on the dire side. We're just going to ban this out. Not the first 2 this time, though, because it's not really nearly as good on the dire side, because if you do get heavily punished, you can't really just go back to resort into the jungle, because it is further away, and it's not nearly as efficient as the Radiant jungle. And we do see Evil Geniuses banning out their own Crystal Maiden, so they don't want Cloud9 to have that hero either, and they ban out AUI's fantastic Ancient Apparition that he has played in this tournament.
Yep, and in the process, though, they are going to give Cloud9 once again a chance to pick up the Chen for AUI, and he's had some success on the hero already today, and is just great on the. It's becoming apparent to everyone who watches, and certainly to me, as a guy who had not casted a lot of Cloud9 leading up to this tournament, or at least in their current incarnation with their current sponsor, and certainly with Demon on. They just have so many heroes that they're so good at, you can't possibly ban them all. I mean, like you said, want to get rid of AUI's Ancient Apparition for sure, but then you let the Chin go through. And they haven't even touched Eternal Envy. He's got heroes that he really likes in the pool, most notably the Luna's still there. Cloud9, though, continuing to focus. Wow, we're going to see a Drow Ranger pick up coming out from Cloud9. And I know you have some pretty strong opinions on this hero.
Yeah, I personally don't like the hero. He takes so much to ramp up. But I have seen Eternal Envy and Arteezy play this hero. Arteezy hasn't really had they have won most of their games, but he hasn't really had like the best score. He does recover in his farm, but he does get heavily punished in the early games. But Eternal Envy, like I was saying, does do a very strange build. He doesn't go for this BKB. He doesn't go for any of this. We usually tend to see him go for this Mask of Madness and even a Maelstrom sometimes, just trying to bust out the damage as quick as possible and not really having to rely on this marksmanship damage that you do see. He doesn't really care if someone tries to bring the gap close to him. He's just like, whatever, I'm just going to click on you with my Mask of Madness and my Maelstrom. Right. And also, that both those items are such great farming tools.
Absolutely, and great pushing tools as well. I mean, it's, anytime you have any kind of a hero like that can just absolutely melt towers, it becomes a situation where when you commit with the team fight, if you're in EG shoes, if you end up losing and the creep equilibrium isn't in your favor, then it's just a tower gone every time you lose a team fight. And I do like what they've done here, though, picking up that clockwork for Universe. Universe has played an excellent clock throughout the tournament, and perfect answer to Drow Ranger, and to tell you the truth, pretty sure we're going to see him get a pretty early blade mail just to help mitigate that damage point blank.
Yeah, definitely. No surprise seeing that clockwork. It's just such a good gap closer for this Drow Ranger, like we were saying before. But the Gust, if you do it, I'm pretty sure you can push the clockwork out of his own cogs. I think I've seen it once or twice, but I'm not 100% sure on that one, so I'm not going to really go into that too much. And we do see the Earthshaker being picked up by Cloud9. We did see them play it earlier in this tournament with the Ancient Apparition combo, so it was very, very good, but the annoying thing about this is they have to watch out now on Evil Geniuses if there's going to be any Ancient or neutral pulling by that Fisher block. So it's really annoying to deal with, but it is a viable tool that people do use in tournaments.
Absolutely. And, the thing about that, though, and you've seen the good and you've seen the bad. I've seen that kind of blocking and, the pulling and so on. It can have a good effect, but the Earthshaker, is going to take some time to ramp back up. It is really, really costly for him in terms of levels, in terms of gold, and everything else to have any hope of being a big influence on the map outside of that. So doing it, yes, absolutely, it can and will work. It forces your opponents to account for it in a different way, but you then have to find a way to get the Earthshaker back on par. Otherwise, he's basically a dead hero after the laning phase begins to break down. Yeah,
and something I didn't really point out before either. Evil Geniuses right away picked both of their support heroes, and then in that second draft phase, they did ban out some support heroes. So Cloud9 is a little bit restricted on the heroes that they can choose for the support, so the Earthshaker was a very good pick there for them. And now we're seeing what Evil Geniuses wants to reveal now. If they want to show us their mid player, or they're going to see this, yeah, there it is. And that's going to be probably the Arteezy Tinker, which he has played very, very good in this tournament, as well as we've been seeing it comboed so well with Zai, with those familiars. If they get a commanding lead, those two guys really took over a game, and we saw them do that earlier in this tournament.
I'd love that Tinker pick for so many reasons. We were just talking about how quickly Drow Ranger can push towers. Now you have a perfect answer for that. You have a hero who is going to build mobility, should get up a very quick boots of travel, very quick blink, of course. Another way to get on top of the Drow Ranger. Once he gets a Scythe of Ice up, suddenly now she has to worry about that and account for that. You have laser, not just the damage, the miss percentage, the miss chance coming out on that, or just, the miss debuff. That hurts her as well, and it's going to work the same on Mirana. The ability to get on top of her, get a Scythe of Ice, do that, or you can go straight up Dagon. You get a Dagon up, now you have another tool to blow up this glass cannon kind of approach we tend to see out of the Drow Ranger played by Eternal Envy. I think it's a brilliant pick out of EG, and Cloud9's going to have to account for that. And, it's no secret. Arteezy's Tinker is pretty legit.
Yeah, it really is, of course. And a lot of people do play a very, very strong Tinker. He's one of those heroes that you need to just be very, very good with your mechanics and just know when you want to be aggressive, if you want to blink in and go for a kill, or if you want to just play it more passive, set up a couple marches, and then lead up with that. But it helps a lot having this Visage, because you can find a lot of places you can farm. Once you get your boots of travel, you can bring those familiars into the enemy jungle or all over the place, and that's a tool you can use to really just get a lot of farm on this Tinker. But also, we do see Cloud9 ban out this Spectre, so they do not want more global presence come out of Evil Geniuses, because with the current lineup that Cloud9 has, it's a little bit hard for them to do an aggressive and really punish this Spectre pick.
The Lifestealer is still an option for EG if they want to try and ride the clockwork into the fight. And of course, it can work with Tinker. Any hero who builds a Force Staff or a Blink Dagger can work for that kind of a carry if they are going to be looking, one would imagine, for a pickup for Fear. But Cloud9 rounding out their lineup with the Shadow Demon. And, Shadow Demon, we saw them use the great effect earlier. It's a great way to set up Mirana. Mirana's Sacred Arrow, of course, and you know, just taking a look at their lineup, it's hard to predict. I mean, their lanes seem kind of clean cut, but I feel like they do have a little bit more flex than meets the eye. Mirana, most likely going to be played by Sing Sing once again, the Bad Rider off lane, Drow Ranger being tri-lane. But is the Earthshaker going to pull? Is he going to block creeps, etc.? Could they potentially try to get aggressive with something out of this? Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. That's not that bad of an aggressive. It does have a melee here, and we do see the Bounty Hunter picked up, and that could probably be Fear's. That's definitely going to be Fear's Bounty Hunter. So they're doing a 1 Bounty Hunter who's just going to be moving around, looking to pick up a lot of track money with this Tinker and with this Vista, just moving around, getting as much kills as possible, getting tons of gold coming out. And we do see AOI playing the Shadow Demon this time around, and Palai Dai playing his signature Earthshaker.
Yep. Palai Dai's Earthshaker, very, very good. Has been for pretty much every time I've seen him on that hero. He's played extremely well, so could be in for a show now. And we're underway. We're all knotted up. Again, this best-of-5 grand finals has now become a best-of-3 as we're tied up at 1. The teams moving out on both sides is 5, and we'll keep an eye on them just in case there happens to be any kind of chance for early action. Looks like EG is actually going to end up separating out. C9, though, still running as 5. They're going to move into the jungle.
Yep, and it looks like they might want to just do everything that they've been doing the same. Get a couple wards down early and just not let them just be able to farm their jungle. And
Yep, they're going to hang for the moment, so they're not going to cross over. So since we're still waiting, how about we take a look and see who's handling who? As mentioned, Palai Dai will be playing on our Earthshaker with our Eternal Envy. Playing on Drow Ranger, it'll be Mirana, played by Sing Sing for the 3rd game in a row. Shadow Demon, played by AUI. And Demon back on the Bad Rider. On the other side of the river, we're going to have PPD playing on the Bane. The 1-position Bounty Hunter, played by Fear. Don't see that every day. Not completely unheard of, but not super common either. Universe going to be taking the Clockwork into the offlane. A great hero for him, no doubt about it. The Visage going to be played by Zai. And, of course, Arteezy going to be taking Tinker into mid.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see how they end up doing these lanes, because we do see Palai Dai right now setting up toward the Ancient area, so we might be seeing him just pulling these Ancients, and yeah, that's basically why they were standing up on that hill. They didn't want anybody to be able to go over there and ward. So now, yeah, Palai Dai is walking over, just making sure that he can secure that spot for himself, and PPD does luck out, though, and finds a DD rune at this top rune.
DD being babysat by PPD, at least for the moment, right above him. Palai Dai's got eyes on him, and we'll see if he is going to end up doing the Ancient pulling, and that seems to be a pretty good bet. PPD will go ahead and grab it, and blocked off by a fissure from Palai Dai, so unable to get into any position to do much of anything. Now going to rotate over into mid, though.
Yeah, we do see Drow Ranger going mid, so it's not the Sing Sing mid bottom, it is the Drow Ranger mid, and this Bane is just going to give him the right click, and he's going to get completely zoned out because Eternal Envy did not really get the best block in this mid lane, so he's going to get almost nothing out of these, even the next 2 creep waves, if I'm going to say.
Yep, shoved way up right in front of Arteezy, and with Bane there, already has a point to enfeeble as well, so even after the DD wears off, he's going to continue to be so super annoying to Envy. We're keeping an eye on Palai Dai for the moment, as the next wave should be the one that if he is going to pull, he will be pulling. We see the Ancients did spawn, and down at bottom, we can see Universe hooked up with Zion, trying to keep some pressure on Sing Sing.
Yeah, they did decide to do these dual lanes on EG, so very, very smart, because they knew that Palai Dai was going to be doing these Ancient pulls, and that's going to deny a lot from Arteezy. But at the same time, Arteezy's sitting at 6-4, and the Drow Ranger only has 1 CS on it under his belt right now. So, and Arteezy's going to play probably pretty far up on him right now. He's going to try to give him a laser and just try to not let him get any of these CS, but he can't guarantee that he can't get any. So we do see PPD walking up toward these Ancients. He does put this Obs Ward in there, and he does actually last hit and get a decent amount of experience from the creeps that died there.
Yep, and the ward blocking it out, so the battle of the ward's going to be taking place. Haven't talked a whole lot about our one-on-one matchup. Going to be Fear farming right in the face of Demon. Who do you give the advantage in this matchup?
I mean, I know the Chinese have, in the past, done Bounty Hunter versus the Spat Rider, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, if Demon just decides to get an early dust up, and if Fear lets 1 or 2 overstacks go on him, this Bat Rider has very, very easy kill on this Bounty Hunter, as well as having the Drow Warrior to help him last hit just a little bit, since we know Bat Rider has taken a few hits on his base damage.
Yep. And so far we can see the CS 5-6. It's a break even right now, but you know, any melee hero, no matter what, and it doesn't matter if you have Invis or not, you just have to be so conscious of getting those stacks on you, especially as a Bad Rider gets closer and closer to 6. No matter what, if you get 3-4 stacks of sticky napalm on you, and there's the lasso not even always necessary.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can just run him down and then you get pretty screwed, but we'll see what ends up happening. Fear does have 10 magic sticks on him, and he's doing fairly well for himself right now. He's 7-1 up against the 7-1, so they're both about even right now. And Demon does have to be a little bit careful, though, just because of these supports. And now the Bane actually did find his level 2 at those Ancients. He did end up getting in. He does have Enfeeble, and he's saving a point, deciding what he really wants to go for just yet.
Denied.
And it looks like the Drow Rangers is starting to have a little bit of trouble in this mid lane. He's not able to pull out that many CS, so not really working out the best for them. But Pilot Die, instead of just going to pull those Ancients, because of course they are blocked, he's going to go pull this Radiant big camp.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Blocking them off and pulling them out, and he's actually going to get some experience from this. I mean, he's still short of his level 2 for now, and we can hear RTZ going back and forth with this Drow Ranger here in mid. Currently, the highest farmer on the board is Sing Sing's Mirana, sitting at 17, while Drow's just sitting at 6, roughly half of RTZ's taker. We're going to have a disruption, and the arrow to follow it up. Universe could be in some trouble. He's got some help from Zai. Isn't enough. Gets the cogs down, and one last arrow notches first blood as Sing Sing lets that one go from the hip and gets himself a bit of an advantage.
And that's the beauty of the Drow, where it really gave him just enough damage to get that, as well as the Soul Catcher, of course, from the Shadow Demon. So very, very well played by these two bottom lane.
And that's exactly what you want. I mean, Sing Sing, he has just been playing out of his mind the whole tournament. I mean, he's been on a stretch now for quite some time playing Miran in almost every game. But to lead things off on day 1 and 2, he played a lot of Ember Spirit, and he was on fire then too, both figuratively and literally.
Yeah, and now Demon just decides, you know what, I'm a little bit worried up there. I don't want to risk dying versus a Bounty Hunter and getting him this is an even earlier level 6 for him to rotate. And then he can just, once the Bounty Hunter hits 6, you're probably going to just see him leave that lane entirely and give Bane full experience to try to get his Fiend's Grip up. And Demon knows there's a stack at this Radiant big camp, so he just goes into the jungle and he's jungling up right now.
Oh, no.
And RTZ getting harassed a little bit more as AUI with that Haste Rune shows his face and trying to free a little space for this Drow Ranger, who is falling further and further behind, sitting at just 8 CS. And, you know, RTZ is being given some attention, so he's not nearly as high as he would like to be. Sing Sing, the real big winner, but the big question mark for me is going to be Fear. As we can see, he's right in second position in terms of overall CS, sitting at 19. When is he going to get active? What's his item build going to be?
He's probably just going to go for this phase drum build as usual. But we do see, actually, Pilot Die tried to pull these Ancients, but Demon, he cut down the trees in this Radiant area, and the creeps just ran around instead of going toward the Ancients. So a little bit of a miscommunication or misplay there, and not expected from Pilot Die. So he really didn't expect those trees to be cut down. So
too bad, so sad.
oh wow, Demon does pick up this early dust though, and they are going back to this top lane. So Fear does have 4 stacks on him, and Pilot Die is in the distance right there. So they might actually go for a kill on him here.
And we see the fissure.
Nah, but he's too close to his tower. It's too risky there.
PPD just behind him too. PPD is level 3, has 2 points in the Brain Sap. Not a single point in the Nightmare as of right now. And EG at bottom, not going the best either. I mean, Clock is level 5, so not the end of the world. Visage has just about found level 3, so. But Sing Sing at level 6 now, they're just going to flat out dive this. And Zai's got to be very careful. If he eats an arrow, and Sing Sing, yeah, not going to let it fly, at least from vision, there's going to be a disruption.
Bottom tower is under
And
attack.
Universe dropping the cogs. Sing Sing, because he ran into the cogs, doesn't have the mana for an arrow. He might not need it, though, as Universe was trapped in. And Sing Sing, no, taking a lot of damage. Looks like, yep, Sing Sing did get the kill, and Will died to the tower.
They both actually ended up dying to that tower, so a little bit crazy of a dive there. And the cogs were very well placed by that Clockwork. And of course, the Shadow Demon illusions actually were the reason that Sing Sing got pushed out there.
Yep.
He didn't have any room to be inside of those cogs. He did walk up right next to it, but there's no space for it, so it just ended up pushing him out instead.
Bad Rider has a double damage rune, bottled up. As you mentioned, the pickup of Dust, they could try to take a run at Fear. PPD, level 4 now, does finally have a point into Nightmare. Good to disjoint any lasso combination. But for now, Eternal Envy finally getting a little room to breathe and has caught up to RTZ. He's sitting at 20 CS to 21.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, and they did actually, I guess, de-ward their Ancients. I guess I didn't really catch that one, but C9 did ward the Ancients, the Dire Ancients. So they got the ward down, and now they're going to try to get a couple stacks up for RTZ. But right now, RTZ is just leaving the mid lane alone, and he's just doing some jungle camps with his March of Madness.
March of Machines.
Whoops.
March of Madness, thinking Mask of Madness, are you? Already thinking of Envy. However, at bottom, we're going to see Fear hooking up and getting a kill. That's a track kill. Arrow will be caught in the face by Universe, but no way for Sing Sing to follow that up. And this was my question. How much was he going to farm? Was he really going to look to get a full phase drums up, or was he going to get active early? And looks like that's been answered for us now.
Yeah, he just wants to give his supports a bit of levels as well. And we see Pilot Die giving a little bit of harassment up top, but nothing too huge. And the supports of EG are actually doing quite well. Zyve picks up his level 5 now after that dive that the two guys did bottom. And PPD is almost level 5 as well, so doing very well for themselves. And we take a look at the goal graph now. It's pretty even. Experience graph leading EG just a little bit at this moment, though.
And Demon continuing to just farm away. Level 6, getting close to that blink. Universe still looking for his own level 6. He'll be there momentarily. And, you know, we always say this, but, you know, you pick a Clockwork, especially in a situation like this, it's not as dire a need because, you know, EG has pretty solid late game with Tinker, even just by himself. But when you have a 2-core lineup like this with the Drow Ranger, with the Mirana, and we've seen just how devastating Sing Sing can be whenever he gets ahead, they really need big plays out of him. They need him to be active almost from the moment he hits level 6 and not miss a single hook.
Yeah, and Fear's just running around trying to find his Bat Rider. He's pointing out that there's stacks in the jungle. He's just going to keep looking for this guy now. But there is a sentry down there on that hill, but they did spot him, yeah. So now Fear might have to be in a little bit careful because he's in a very weird spot. So we'll see what ends up happening here. They pop the dust, but they don't catch him with it.
He actually makes his way in between the towers. And Cloud9 running together. This is freeing up space for EG to finally get some more efficient gold and level gain on those supports and even on Arteezy as well. Arteezy back on top, 39 CS to the 29 of the Drow. So roughly a break even there because a lot of that has been jungle creeps and that can sometimes inflate the actual value of experience and gold. But for the moment, a very close affair. And yeah, look at the gold graph. We're dead even.
Yeah, experience graph still leading a little bit in EG, but Sing Sing just finds he gets so much CS always on this Mirana. And some people do have a little bit of trouble lasting on the Mirana early on, but Sing Sing, after so much experience on this hero, always just does so spectacular. And now we see Visage getting his 6 up top. He has the birds set up near these Radiant Ancients.
And a Rocket trying to scout out the jungle a little bit. A lot of this is a battle of vision and a battle of just controlling space on both sides.
Yeah, and a lot of movement coming out of EG. They want to just give their supports as much as possible. PPD right now is just getting as many levels. He's trying to find his Fiend's Grip in mid right now, while Fear just runs around looking for kills, and Arteezy just secures some farm in the jungle. Now Arteezy does have his Boots of Travel finished up at base, and he's going to walk back and pick him up.
Now, they did put Fear in that one position. How big a problem is it that he basically has just spent the last couple of minutes running around, has got next to no experience. He got that one track kill, but since then has really not done much. He hasn't farmed. He's had almost no experience, finally showing his face back in lane. At what point do you consider that a problem for EG if he continues to be unable to find track kills?
It's not that big of a problem because Zai is finding a lot of farm in this Visage now. He does have 1,200 gold under his belt and level 7, and all over the place, they are having other heroes get a lot of levels and everything, so he doesn't really have to go finding all those ganks right now. He's going to pick up a little bit more farm in this top lane, picking up a Bracer pretty soon, and PPD can actually go for some ganks right now with some other players, as well as the Clockwork getting his 6 and having this hook up in his option. And we do see the Midas being picked up by Eternal Envy. A little bit late, but not too late after this scenario that he got pressured on in mid.
And now with Sing Sing just continuing to find complete free farm. And not even really getting a lot of attention from anyone. I mean, AUI is almost level 6 as well, so how Demonic Purge at his disposal. But I'm a little shocked at how quiet this early game has been.
We do see a hook coming out of Universe, but it caught an illusion there, a Shadow Demon. Actually, I'm not sure what illusion that was there, but it was an illusion for sure. And I think it was a Bat Rider illusion. So now we do see Sing Sing Fiend's gripped up by PPD bottom.
Going to be disrupted, though. Here comes Arteezy, going to laser out Sing Sing. That's going to force the leap. And here comes the counter initiation of Demon. Gets the lasso off. Universe is right there behind him, though. They do manage to pick off the Bane, and dropping in the cogs now is Universe. They're gonna, Arteezy should be able to make it away along with
Pi getting dove up top now by Fear, and Fear does net a kill with his track money and get some track money up under him.
Yep. Something they desperately needed.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Visage just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go farm the jungle while you guys are getting some kills up, and he's finding a lot of farm. He's got 1,700 gold under his belt right now.
And you know, that's what we were talking about, the fact that EG was kind of spreading the map and making space, and Cloud9 was spending a lot more time on top of each other. That's why we saw the experience graph drop a little bit. We see it has come back towards even for EG, but because they did end up spreading out a little bit better than C9. And, you know, just 7 kills, fairly quiet early game. Once again, I do really like the way EG is spreading around all of that XP. Earthshaker's still not even level 6 and quite broke. Does have his brown boots up at the very least, though.
Yeah, and they are actually smoked up, and they are going to spot out Arteezy. And, oh, the Fissure off the mark right now, so they're probably going to just back up. But the smoke was broken by Arteezy there. Very well played.
PPD was winding up for a nightmare there. Had 3/4 of his team behind him, but unable to connect on him. Fear is moving through the jungle to the south a little bit, trying to see if he can spot a wayward target. Arrow's going to miss on PPD in mid, but now we're beginning to see this laning phase break down a little bit. Is it EG or C9 that you think is really going to be the aggressors over the next few minutes?
Definitely EG. I mean, they have this bounty hunter, so he's going to be walking around looking for as many track kills as possible. And once he gets this level 11 is when you really start seeing the track money coming in. We see a lot of pings coming out on top of Fear, and let's see if he does get caught out by Dust or Sentry.
Blink ahead by Demon. Looking for a target. Fear doubles back and around in the meantime. Tier 1 still up on both sides. I've yet to see a tower drop, and we're at 13 minutes in. But the team fight potential of both, I believe, going to begin to show themselves. Taking a look at Envy, he did go Midas, and we haven't really given a lot of play to that yet. Has up his treads, his Wraith Band, and that Midas at this point, and he is going to be eating a lot of damage. There is the Brain Sap to follow up the track, and a very nice kill as they bring down Eternal Envy and get some nice bonus gold for the trouble. At bottom, though, Cloud9 doing the really smart thing and just saying, that's fine, you're going to kill him. Hang on. Behind that, we're going to hear a lasso from Demon, dragging Universe back. The arrow going to be a little slow there. Here's Artur coming back, and the disruption, but a hook from Universe secures a kill on the Shadow Demon, and Demon himself on the Bad Rider able to teleport away. So this Tier 1 not only still standing, but after the kill went off on Envy, they get a return kill as well.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised that Eternal Envy didn't say something right away when he saw that his marksmanship disappeared, because that's usually something that he is very, very aware of when somebody's standing on him invisible or anything like that when he's playing this Drow Ranger. So I don't think he's going to be making that mistake again.
Down a bottom Demon. And they're investing a lot of time into trying to zone Demon out of his own jungle. And they're doing a decent job of it right now. They're going to end up doing some damage. There's going to be the Moonlight Shadow, but the Shuriken Toss secures another track kill. PPD is there, spins the Nightmare, Sing Sing. Disruption there, as well as the arrow. So they're going to be able to bring down PPD in the meantime. Fear, though, managing to keep himself safe for the moment. They end up trading 1 for 1, but that's another trade that does favor Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, and in the meantime, though, while they were doing the very aggressive dive there, they did get some nice aggressive wards down, so they have vision of everything, and we might even see Eternal Envy get dove here again. He has to be very, very careful. Yep,
using the Gust to try and create some space, and will make it back to his own Tier 2. Now Fear going to be caught with the arrow from Sing Sing. He ends up dropping Pilot Eye there to help pursue out. Nice flame break. Knocks Arteezy back. Can Demon catch him? He's got 5 seconds on his lasso, and they should be able to get him by the time all's said and done. Yeah, hell, don't even need the lasso. How about just a fissure? At bottom, though, we do see some pressure being put onto this Tier 1 as Universe is now cutting the creeps, tucked up under. That Tier 1 bottom is AUI, can't really do much on his own.
And he really doesn't want to reveal that he's there. His Clockwork's Hook is up, although he is completely out of mana at this point. So let's see how they engage on this. And yeah, they're just going to go on Universe, and he's going to go down for sure. Yep,
disruption after the Purge. Pilot Die is there. Well played, and they get a very nice kill, bringing Universe down on this map. In mid, though, PPD once again in trouble. Demon's right on him. Will spin the lasso just to make sure the kill is 100% secured.
Wow, and Envy lived with such low health there. He got 1 Frost Arrow off and then just slowed PPD so he couldn't get in range of getting that kill. So very well played by Eternal Envy. I thought he was actually going to go down there, but ended up being just enough for him. And using the lasso there, whatever. Saving your Drow Ranger and using it at this point is fine. You might as well use this lasso. It's up, so why not?
Cloud9 takes the lead in kills once again. Last couple of minutes have been huge for them. We've seen Fear tallying some of those track kills, but with the Bounty Hunter, it's all about level 11.
Again.
Yep, he's going to get him one more time. So Demon's getting the job done. He's now 3-1, and all 3 of those are track kills. 3, 1, and 2, actually. And I want to say at least one of those was also a track kill and assist. It might be all 5, to be completely honest with you. But, it's all about level 11, which he now has. Level 2 track is where you really start to see snowball status come from these track kills. So far, it's been a nice infusion. Now, though, is really their time to shine. This is their wheelhouse, and this is when they need to start grouping and making things happen.
And this is the power of those super aggressive wards, which they do have down. So they spotted Demon very, very low, farming aggressively in that jungle. And we do see Eternal Envy go for this Mask of Madness build that we do see him do very, very often.
Tier 1 at bottom is going to end up being the target. Doesn't look like it's going to be contested. So let's talk about this Mask of Madness build as you just mentioned. Obviously it has its good parts. I mean, you're going to be hitting very hard as a Drow Ranger at this stage of the game anyway, but it has its drawbacks, especially against EG with this lineup. A lot of ways to close distance, a lot of good lockdown, a lot of heroes who can get on top of him. How does he mitigate that?
I'm not really too sure. I'm not the biggest fan of the Drow Ranger, so he has to just be really careful and keep his distance. We do see Universe caught out by this, and yeah, he's just going to get blown up for sure by that great lasso. So great use of the lasso. And Demon's playing very, very well this game. He's finding more and more picks this game, I think. But even though he's not getting all the kills, he is using his lasso constantly and keeping it on cooldown.
Fear, once again, moving through the south. Pilot Eye up front. Going to be tracked and hit with the Janana, but now here comes the rest. TP in from Arteezy using the bots onto the Visage Familiar's Fear, though. Will secure another track kill. He's right on Demon behind that. Up in the middle of it, though, we see Eternal Envy forced back, and we're going to see yet another kill on the bat, notched by Fear. And this is what you need to do. Running that Bounty Hunter in the 1 position. And really like the way they brought Arteezy into that. And that's just something C9 is always going to have to be conscious of. With those bots up on the Tinker, anywhere the familiars are, basically that's where Tinker is too. Now he has his Blink Dagger, that extra bit of mobility, and again, the ability to close distance on these heroes, Drow Ranger and Mirana in particular, going to begin to make life very, very hard for C9.
But look at that, just only 2 track kills on 3 or 4 people on an EG's team, and the gold graph just completely dips down into almost into their favor now.
Radiant's middle tower
very much
is
agree.
under attack.
And we hear a hook coming out.
Yep.
Just misses Eternal Envy. Eternal Envy is so squishy at this point. He has to be very, very careful. Now, yeah, EG's just capitalizing on a lot of things happening right now. They're trying to take as many... Oh, and he stops the travels right now. But is there any follow-up? The arrow does not connect.
And behind that, we're actually going to see a Nightmare on the Sing Sing, but he should be all right. It sounds like Fear just got another kill somewhere else. He's going to end up dying because of it, but that was a track kill.
That was pretty far in. I did not expect him to go all the way in there. I was looking at the other guys in case someone got hit by an arrow.
Yeah.
But Fear, having so much farm, and he's level 13 now. He's got Vlad's on the courier and another 1,700 gold.
Yep. And that's what it's all about. And we didn't, like you said, we didn't see that gold graph really get out of hand and dip all the way back down in EG's favor, no matter the track kills, until he hit level 11 and got level 2 track. That's where it really begins to kick in. And just that bonus gold in those 5-man fights, absolutely massive for EG. And we're basically back to even. I mean, you look at the experience, dead on the line, the gold, basically dead on the line as well. We got a hell of a game for the 3rd time in a row. And, you know, we've seen, let's be honest, some stomps throughout the tournament so far. This is what you want. This is what we've all been desiring to see, an ultra-competitive series between these 2 teams.
Just taking a glance again at the wards out of EG, look at this. The sentries and the obs wards just all up in C9's jungle. They really don't want them to be farming this jungle without any risk. They want to just constantly be able to bring the pressure on them. If they see someone low farming in there, they send the Visage Familiar, and then they have 3 people there with the Bounty Hunter, with the Tinker, and with the Visage Familiars, which are basically a hero on their own. And we do see Zai, instead of going for a Medallion, he rushes the Ag Scepter, and he has it already at this point, which is massive. He's about to be level 11 as well, so he is going to be kind of like their, I would say kind of like their 2. And Fear is more of like, actually, he's kind of like a 3. All right, fine. Yeah. So Tinker's kind of like the 1, and Fear is just going to be able to bring them so much gold.
Oh, Pilot Eye gets off the Fissure, but dead. Oh, what a hook from Universe as he catches Sing Sing. Can they follow it up, though? If they could get him to go with the other 2 kills, it would have been huge. The hook was there, but Sing Sing able to make it away. And but EG capitalizing once again. And things are beginning to maybe get a little bit scary for Cloud9 just because of how snowballing this squad from EG happens to be, with the Tinker, with the Bounty Hunter in particular.
Yeah, 5-man track kills are nothing to be overlooked at all. You get so much gold for your team on that. And even though the gold graph didn't really dip all the way down from that kill, just because Eternal Envy got that bottom tower, it is going to be very beneficial every time they get kills like that, just because of how much money these guys are going to be getting. We haven't really been seeing PPD get any items on his 5 heroes, but right now, it looks like he's actually more rich than he has been in the majority of these games at this point in the game already. He has boots, he has an urn, and he has another 1,300 gold for himself.
Yep. Having that urn up, a big deal. Given how aggressive they are playing. That, you know, and it's one of those things, yeah, you see the urn charge go off. Sometimes you see it's like, oh, they're going to heal up with urn. But over time, that urn pays for itself so many times. Like, it is just such a great pickup. And having it out this early again, that's not even early. It's 21 minutes. But just based on poor PPD being broken almost every game we've seen, sometimes quite a bit more delayed. But this is going to be a very dangerous gank squad. Fear plus Universe moving back into that jungle, just trying to find a target. We can see Cloud9 is actually thinking north is the place to be as they are moving as 5 up towards that tier 1 top.
And I wonder if we see Zai go for this Medallion anyway on this hero, just because of the amazing power that it has on Roshan, especially with all the physical damage that they do, plus Bounty Hunter picking up this Vlad's, and Fear is just quite loaded. He's got Vlad's and 3,000 gold on him, so doing very, very well for himself, and PPD is definitely going to get caught out here. He's not in a great spot.
Let's see if there's going to be any reaction. Tower is pretty low. They will pop the glyph. And yeah, Roshan seems to be the much bigger concern right now. And you know, it's getting more and more, it's happening more and more often that you'll see a big 5-man rotation up to take down a tier 1 top one from the Radiant, and then the natural reactions go, okay, screw it, Rosh.
Yeah, and Pai's getting relatively close to his Blink Dagger. He opted for the Tranquil Boots and the Soul Ring instead of going for Arcanes. I mean, he's getting close to his Blink Dagger, sorry about that. And yeah, they do get this Roshan for free, for sure. There's nothing that C9 can do at this point, so they're just going to maybe even back up and go for a gank afterwards and not really contest this tower or contest this Roshan.
Yep. Fake back, perhaps. We'll find out. That's actually going to be spotted. The Rocket Flare flies right over their head. And there's the Moonlight Shadow. And let's see if EG is able to get themselves all tucked back in safely up under their towers. As of right now, Zai makes a very, very appetizing target. He's going to be spotted by Demon just under his own tier 2, though. And it looks like, yeah, this isn't going to result in anything so far. Demon, though, looking for something. There's the familiars. Get eyes on him. EG getting into a defensive position under the tier 2 top. There's going to be another Rocket Flare. Perhaps got a little speck of vision there. And, yeah, they're actually feeling very aggressive. They're moving out on their own terms.
Yeah, Demon spotted out stacks up in the jungle, so he just took those away from Arteezy. He doesn't want Arteezy to get more farm under it right now. And Arteezy does have a Blink Dagger. He's going for this really, really early Sheepstick rather than going for a Dagon, which is definitely the right choice. And he does have the Aegis placed on the Tinker, so they don't want him dying. They want him just to secure the Sheepstick and get as farmed as possible. They don't really care who else really gets picked off in these team fights, because as long as a few track kills happen in the end, it's going to be so worth it. And Fear looking great. I'm assuming it's going to be a BKB rush coming ahead of him. He has 3,500 gold, so he's just doing great.
Tinker and Fear both on top of the net worth chart, as we can see, 10,000 for Tinker. Just a little short of that for Fear, but Sing Sing and Eternal Envy both hanging right in there too. Only a couple hundred gold behind, so we've yet to see, at least in the top tier of the heroes in terms of farm priority, it really open up. And Fear is just going to be spotted, Wonders right in front of Cloud9. There's a hook from Universe though. Fear still up and fighting. Tinker right there to help finish it off with the laser. And now trying to catch up, gets a little bit of damage. Soul Assumption does decent damage to Sing Sing, but not enough to bring him down. So even though Fear just basically walked up and said, oh, hi guys, you're the enemy, and got disrupted, a good hook from Universe disjointed things enough to allow them to take a 1-for-0 exchange, and moving ahead onto this tier 2. It doesn't look like they're really in any position to challenge it. It looks like they're going to get a free one.
Yeah, for the most part, it's Zeros and Eternal Envy doing his own thing. He's trying to pick up as much farm as possible, and he didn't actually go for the Maelstrom build this game. He went for the Yasha build, and probably going to be going for a Manta or a BKB next. And let's see if Demon is able to find a decent pick right now, which he might be able to find Arteezy, but no. Great time on that Blink.
And yep, they're going to go ahead and withdraw. As you had mentioned, Envy definitely doing his own thing for the moment. No, they're not going to withdraw. They just reset a little bit, and there's the track on the Sing Sing.
Radiant's
and now rushing down this tier 2, and yeah, they can't do anything about it. They shoved it back up. There's going to be arrow, going to be dodged by everyone. Arteezy doing what damage he can and zoning them off of the high ground there. He's going to go ahead and rearm and dare them to come forward. A little bit of damage being done. S and Y is done on Eternal Envy in the meantime, and he's getting fat. I mean, his net worth is right there with Tinker's, and given how quickly those bots came out for Arteezy, that's no small task.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't really see an S&Y Drown Ranger. It's a little bit strange, but that mobility is going to be great. He has 5'10" movement speed whenever he pops his Mask of Madness, so he's just going to be running around farming all over the place. He's definitely not going to be joining team fights until he becomes a really, really big issue.
We can see his attack speed is just through the roof to begin with, but when he pops Mask of Madness, he is just absolutely machine gunning it. But so far, EG taking fairly good recontrol of the map, I should say, as Cloud9 has up to this point done a nice job of freeing up that space for him. But now, even though they're on the defensive, we're seeing he is still finding the farm that he so desperately wants. The gold graph is still hovering right at 0. So no team able to open up a gold lead. The experience slightly in favor of EG, but certainly not the end of the world and nothing insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination. C9, though, has a few other things in mind, as they are going to go ahead and smoke and move through right past the Roche pit.
Yeah, and Arteezy does finish up his Sheepstick right now, so very, very early Sheepstick and Blink Dagger coming out of Arteezy, and he still does have this Aegis, and he's about to be his level 16 as well, so if he decides to go...
Universe going to be lassoed out in mid. Can they get him to the high ground? He can. Highlight dies right there, and Universe cleaned up out of that fight. And we're going to see Tinker actually chasing him down. The Scythe of Ice showed off immediately, so the Sheepstick already being used, and that's going to make it tough, just having the Sheepstick up at all. Even when Envy does come in, hang on, they're going to run right into AUI, who was just in the wrong part of town. Pilot Eye throws out the Fissure and the Echo Slam. Fear, though, with that BKB up, ready to just add another track kill to his resume. Down he goes, more gold going the way of EG, and Demon was put to sleep by PPD, and now Fiend's Gripped. Big exchange and big turnaround for Evil Geniuses as they go 3-for-1 in that exchange after the lasso onto Universe.
And still, same thing. Eternal Envy just avoiding these fights, just trying to find as much farm as he can. And now PPD picks up a Blink Dagger on himself, so that's a really good mobility item for Bane, and just a surprise. You can really just catch people off guard. Just blink and Fiend's Grip, or blink, sleep one of the other ones, Fiend's Grip another one when you see 2 people together. And now Fear is getting dangerously close to this level 16 track, which is even more gold for his teammates and himself. And we do see what ends up happening. He does spot Eternal Envy, so Envy's going to be in some trouble right here.
Oh yeah, throws out the Gust. Can he chase him down? Yep, there's the Rockets, and Fear's going to get this kill along with Arteezy. That is huge, and now Pylai caught with the side devices. He lands in. Sing Sing's there to try and disjoint things, but Pylai drops. Another track kill. Fear could be in trouble, though. Might end up dead. Here comes Universe in, and Will, the great nightmare from PPD, buys him time. AUI trapped with Universe. He's going to drop, and Arteezy ends up popping that Aegis through his own illusions, but another good exchange. He actually did get Fear on the back of that fight. Looked like PPD was going to have been able to save him. Not the case, though, and ahead of that, underneath the Tier 2, we see Sing Sing cleared up, and there's the lasso on Arteezy, but the follow-up not there. In fact, Demon's going to have to run for the well very quickly, as the Tier 2, not enough to keep him safe. And actually, Sing Sing bought back there. Sing Sing is now running out from the base. They're trying to catch up with Universe again. Nice arrow shot from Sing Sing. Shot that from quite a ways away, and that's going to secure another kill. EG, though, in that exchange, they did get Envy. The fact that Envy has been focused so much on just trying to stay alive and get farm. That extended exchange up. Hang on, we're not done. We're going to see Envy once again focused up, but Pylai there to help him out. There's the Gust to silence him out. They're going to get a kill on Arteezy. His greed right there going to cost him big, and just like that, Envy with a big kill under a belt of his own.
And great reaction by Pi there. He knew that they were going to just go for Envy when he went for to get any farm again, so he just sat behind him and just perfect right there. He just blinks in enchant totems and then fissures, and just Eternal Envy just cleans him up. And yeah, they know what Envy's been doing this game. That's why they picked him off before in the first place. They knew he was going to go for this big farm, and then they just cut him off in between. And yeah, great movement by Fear, and just great movement all over the place by EG right now.
PPD giving the end around to C9. He's under cover of an invis, trying to keep an eye on him. He's got some help on the way. Fear's going to converge on them here. That is Pylai and Envy. If they can get him again, it'll be a big deal. They're going to see Pylai yep, nightmared, and then Fiend's Grip on to Envy, and that's going to be another track kill. And here comes the hook just to secure it. Pylai will be able to blink to safety, at least for now. Yeah, they're not going to pursue it out. Another time, another death on Envy, and those are going to begin to hurt a whole lot, not just in terms of track gold, but, you know, just breaking his stride and slowing his item development. AUI, under cover of Moonlight Shadow, does spot Zai, does get the disruption off, but the Visage Familiars are there to stun him out and do a fair amount of damage, and there's going to be an arrow from Sing Sing, though, and the follow-up from Pylai. Nightmare does buy him some time, though, and he will be saved because of that, and the rest of C9 forced to pull back. Demon tracked out. We see he's being pursued by Fear. We're going to have a BKB up, and yep, they're right on top of him. Just heard the Dagon go off twice. Watching Demon be pursued along the ridge, while behind that, C9 is scrambling everywhere. Across the last 30 seconds, in about 3 different places, they lost 3 heroes.
Yeah, and this is the power of the mobility that they have on this lineup. The track, plus the Boots of Travel, plus the Visage Birds. And yeah, this Visage is basically becoming his own carry. He's got his Shiva's Guard finished up, as well as his Ags, and he's on his way to his level 16 as well. And now we take a look at the gold graph, and we see how much these tracks really start to add up. We see a huge dip after they killed Eternal Envy before, and now they're just constantly picking up lots of kills all over the place, and it starts to become really, really scary. Once this Tinker gets a Dagon 5, Eternal Envy can just get blown up instantly, and he has no real survivability. He has his SNY for a bit of health, but even then, it's so hard to get even if he gets a BKB, to get that BKB off, if this Tinker plays it right, he can just blink, hex him, and then blow him up instantly. And they do see Eternal Envy farming right now, so that we're going to see if we go for kills here.
Yep. Demon using his Boots of Travel to hook up with the rest of his team, while EG tries to flank through the jungle. They're going to have a chance to catch AUI in the back if they, nope. Never mind, going to be able to make it into the river. And EG still looking for the opening and the opportunity. Definitely taking the fight, allowing Fear to face check and be basically a walking source of vision. And here we go. Oh, he's actually going to side device, so the hook was wasted, but it doesn't matter. They just blow him up. And AUI comes in, hits the Demonic Purge, but he's going to be in trouble now as Fear has the BKB up. Another death for them. Arteezy making it up to the high ground while the fight rages down mid lane. Up on the high ground, we can see Pylai has 2 seconds till his fissures ready again, but to what possible avail other than maybe a delay tactic to try and keep this tier 2 up. Here comes Arteezy back from the well, though, and in good shape, arriving via those Visage Familiars.
Yeah, and this gold lead's going to start getting bigger and bigger because these people everyone just keeps getting picked off all over the place. And we see AY not having too great of a game on him at all. He's 0-8 on this Shadow Demon, so he hasn't really been having too great of a presence. And we do see Roshan coming up very, very soon, but EG will probably just capitalize on the fact that 2 heroes are down and just go for this mid tower and go for as much damage as possible that they can get.
Arrow shot, arrow misses, and the glyph is going to be used, buying time. Bat's going to be back up now, so a full 5-on-5. They want to try to contest it, and anticipating that the tier 2 top is going to be where they need to go. That's actually where Demon teleported to, and he's going to try to get a jump on somebody here after this tier 2 drops. Yep, he's going to blink immediately on the Zai, dragging him all the way back. There's the arrow to follow it up, and they will at least be able to pick him off. And EG, a little loath to try to re-engage after losing their Visage. Arteezy, though, spamming the rockets out while he can for a little bit of free damage. And they're not done. Fear's actually still hanging around. There's going to be a hook on the Envy. And, oh, they tracked him and disrupted him. But when he comes out, he's going to drop for sure. That's going to, he's actually alive for the moment. Shuriken Toss does make it another track kill behind that, though. Sing Sing shoots another arrow. Not going to be hitting anyone. Going to end up hitting a creep, as Fear had the creep wave to tank that one for him. And they're going to move back in. There's a good Echo Slam, though, doing good damage and getting Arteezy trapped following the fissure. So they're getting a few return kills, but the issue, again, is they're trading away track kills. And at this point, Fear has absolutely been playing out of his mind. He's 10-3 on this bounty hunter. He's already level 18, so these are level 3 tracks now. And just look at the gold graph continue to just spike downwards and downwards and downwards.
Yeah, and Fear has 6,000 gold on him, so I don't even really know what item he could go for. He could go for actually anything. He could go for the Sheepstick if he wants, so he could go for Dagon even for more potential damage, or Ethereal Blade, or he could just go for sheer damage and make up for the fact that they don't really have all that much physical damage besides this Visage and the slight right clicks of the bounty hunter.
Envy finally dealing with his aversion to BKB. Definitely going to get one up now because he desperately needs it. He is having such a hard time staying alive. I mean, you know, when you look at his item build, it makes sense to a degree, but he doesn't feel like he's particularly good at any one thing, especially in these team fights where they have so many methods of either locking him down or just flat out getting on top of him with a source of damage. And that's, BKB is going to help with that, but the gold really has begun to get a bit out of control. And just look at PPD, how unbelievably mobile he is, benefiting so much from that track gold. He's got a blink, a force staff, and an urn, and a wand.
Yeah, he's doing great. I mean, that's what ends up happening once you start getting a lot of these track kills. And since Fear just got so many levels and everything, he got this very early level 11 track, and they got a lot of kills out of it. Even though there was some exchanges, C9 were getting 1 or 2 kills. EG was getting 1 or 2 track kills right back on 3 of their heroes, which definitely benefits them way more than it benefited C9. Pilot has been playing great on this Earthshaker, though. He's sitting behind most of his carries, and he's reading how Arteezy is really trying to play. And he's just constantly just blinking in and just disrupting him. And now we see an engagement going to be happening at Roshan. This Roshan's at half health, and we can see this is going to be a big fight right now.
Yeah, it is, and we're going to see, he's winding up to try and disjoin it, but he's sacrificed in the middle of his blink initiation. Oh, what a fissure, though. Trapping in Fear and Universe, however, Pilot Eye pays us the price. And here's Envy trying to do what he can. Universe gets down the cogs. He's going to be forced out to the high ground, not enough to keep him alive, however. 1-for-1 exchange so far, and Sing Sing forced to retreat as well. And that was a huge Scythe of Ice that disjointed Demon. He was blinking in, and hang on, they're going to catch AUI. Got him with the Fiend's Grip, as well as the Dagon.
Yeah, and Fear actually did go for the Sheepstick, like I said, I thought he was going to. It's a great pickup, honestly. Like, Bounty Hunter needs mana, and they do not need the physical damage out of him at all. They just need him to just constantly be throwing out the tracks and just be an annoying presence in these team fights. So he already has the survivability from the BKB, and this Sheepstick is just so much better for him. We saw what happened to Demon. He blinked in and got instantly hexed, but they do decide, you know what, Fear is very important. We do want him to just keep throwing out these tracks, so we're going to give him this Aegis as well.
PPD almost had a chance to catch up with Envy there. But what a play coming out from EG, and the Demon just scythed so quick before he could lasso, and that just basically boned everything. You know, Pilot Eye threw a good fissure. The follow-up just wasn't there.
Yeah, and it's a really hard place for C9 to fight, especially if you're going to fight into any marches. Not even just the march, the Visage familiars as well. They scout it out, they block a lot of things. They block the arrows, of course, and we do see a Moonlight Shadow coming out. Maybe they're going to be going for a kill or just looking for anything they really can, because they do need to take some risks now that they have this Aegis up, as well as a lot of experience going the way of EG. They're over 15,000, getting close to 20,000 experience lead, and all that gold, of course, about 11,000.
Up, and then we're going to have Fear using that side. Look at that damage output coming out, and Universe comes in to secure the kill. That's also going to disjoint things a bit. Universe with that big blade mail up secures another kill. Aegis is popped off of Fear in the meantime, but Envy has Artor right on him. Yep, Scythe of Ice. And yeah, they managed to get the clock. They should be able to catch up with him. PPD is right there. Silenced or not, they're going to blow him up with the Dagon. And Arteezy
saving that Dagon 5 for the last hit, of course, just to smack down in Envy's face.
Killed, secured.
Killing the master.
But 35-19, and I'll tell you, EG is right on the cusp of blowing this game open. I mean, it's tough to say they haven't already, actually. I mean, Cloud9 is playing well enough to keep them in the game, but just look how quickly this got out of hand. It was up and down for about 28 minutes, and then it just fell off, and now 10 minutes later, we're talking 14,000 gold advantage, 25,000 experience at 37 minutes in, and we can see both Envy and Sing Sing. Still about 30 seconds for both of them to get back on the board here, and you know, EG's spread out. If EG were together there, they probably could have actually had a real chance to take that tier 3. Yeah,
they don't really have the best push on their lineup just yet, but we're going to see them just continue farming, and they're just going to become so much stronger than C9 at this point, especially the fact that Arteezy is going to be getting an Ethereal Blade relatively soon. He has his Dagon 5 already, so he's just going to be dishing out so much damage in these team fights, as well as so much lockdown. So we'll be seeing what ends up happening and how they decide to see what items, if they decide to just go for just straight up pushing right now, or just sit back and farm a little bit more.
EG showing their face here in top tier 2 territory. We're actually, Pilot Eye just gets blown up. Here comes Demon. He's going to come in, but get Scythe devised again. Demon got the lasso off, but got nothing out of it. And even though Arteezy's a bit trapped, he's getting the Dagon off. And yep, they do manage to get him. That's another track kill, by the way. And behind that, the fight, I mean, basically this game beginning to really fall apart now for C9. The last few fights have really not even been close, and a lot of it has to do, the Scythe of Ice work has been just superb on the side of EG. Demon has not been a factor for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of forced to go on Arteezy, so he grabs Arteezy, but then Fear's like, oh, I have a sheep stick, whatever, and he sheeps him right away, so he's not able to really move back and pull that Tinker out of position, so.
Down at bottom, we can see PPD and Arteezy doing a little split push. That's going to free things up here. Fear, Universe, and Zai putting pressure onto this tier 3. Still 20 seconds until Demon's back up. Both Envy and the Mirana both still up. But for now, just trying to split the attention as much as they can. Even Universe doing what he can there in mid. They are going to get this tier 3 at top. And that's a nice infusion goal. Now at bottom, another good creep wave. Are they going to try to? Nope, thought they might try to pursue this out, maybe even throw a blind arrow, but not the case. Arteezy's actually coming back in via the Visage Familiars again, and yeah, he's going to go for it. Blinking right on top of them. There's going to be an Echo Slam, does good damage, but immediately scythed out. Demon comes in, Universe going to hook in and get 2. Got AUI as well as Pylai Die. And yep, once again, Arteezy able to track down Demon into the woods. GG. Sure, a dominant performance from EG. And game 1, a phenomenal game. A really tight affair. Game 2, we saw Cloud9 pull out another squeaker, but here in game 3, that game felt like that was going to be another extremely close game, and then suddenly level 11 track kicks in, and it just completely slipped away from Cloud9 from 28 minutes to roughly 38 minutes.
And we see Eternal Envy say, PPD, you're right, and PPD has been saying that Drow sucks. So I don't think we're going to be seeing that hero coming out of either of these teams for quite a while, and yeah. They did do pretty well. They had some good movement, but they just really couldn't benefit from all of this, and the Drow Ranger just couldn't really do much, and yeah. That's really all that ended up happening. They got a couple kills. The Shadow Demon in the bottom did very, very good. They got some kills on Clockwork and on the Visage, but it just really wasn't enough. And then Fear's rotations were just on point, and they just got so much track money off of all of that.
Like what you did there, the bottom. Very nice. Very nice. Some of us will get that. Yeah. Anyway, 40 minutes and 3 seconds, the time it took for Game 3 to conclude. EG trumps C9 41-19 by the time all was said and done, and we are now potentially just one game away from crowning our grand finalist champions here on the floor of South by Southwest here in Austin, Texas. You're watching the Monster Invitational presented by Logitech. I'm AC, and that's Fog. We'll be right back with what could be a decisive Game 4 coming up next.